Hi everyone, this is new amazing case for you. So don't waste the time. Let's go to the video.
Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real tale with you. On January 4th, 1935, at 10:35 a.m., a call came into the reception. It was from the telephone operator. He said that the telephone in room 1046 had been deliberately unhooked and asked that someone go to the room right away and reconnect its line to the system. Because in that hotel there was a rule: every telephone on the premises, whether in a room or elsewhere, must remain in working order. The hotel wanted all phones to be operational so that if a guest had a problem or needed to call, they would be able to do so. A non-working phone would hurt the hotel's reputation. Therefore, they insisted that no guest should face any difficulty in contacting anyone, that any faulty phone be repaired as quickly as possible. And continuing with the matter of fixing the telephone, a staff member named Randolph went to the room that had been mentioned. When he tried to open the door, he found it was locked from the inside. So he used his master key, and with that, the door opened. As soon as he opened it, he saw only darkness inside. It was morning, yet the room was completely dark. This struck him as very strange because by that time people usually drew their curtains aside to let in daylight. But in this room there was no light at all. It was pitch black. He called out to see if the guest inside would respond, but no one answered. As he stepped further in, he suddenly felt something odd under his feet. It seemed as though water was on the floor, touching his shoes. He wondered why there was so much water and why it felt like something was under his feet, but he paid little attention and kept moving forward. He went to a table where the telephone and the switchboard were located and reached to reconnect the telephone line and on the light. When he turned, the sight in front of him made him panic and go rigid with shock. The water he had felt under his feet was actually the guest's blood, and the room's walls were splattered with blood as well. The guest had been stabbed many, many times, so brutally that there was nothing left of him intact. And then he first checked to see if there was anyone else in the room besides the injured man. When he felt sure that no one else was there, he quickly ran outside and told the other hotel staff what he had seen. Hearing this, the staff hurried into the room, shocked by the scene before them. Something so horrific had never happened in that hotel before. They lifted the man to see who he was. To their surprise, he was still alive, but in no condition to speak or explain anything. Still, when they asked him who had done this to him, he somehow gathered the strength to reply, "No one did anything to me. I was going to the bathroom and fell there. That's why I'm in this condition." The staff found this strange because the man's injuries were far too severe to be the result of simply falling in the bathroom. It was obvious he was hiding something, that there was a secret behind it all. After hearing this, one of the staff members immediately called the police and reported everything. Soon the police arrived and began their investigation. The first thing they looked for was whether there was any weapon in the room that could explain the man's condition, but there was nothing. No weapon for suicide, no weapon of murder. What shocked the police even more was that the room contained none of the man's personal belongings. It was completely empty. Even the free items provided by the hotel toiletries like shampoo, face wash, and body wash had all disappeared. The police inspector looked over everything and then asked the hotel staff who the man was and when he had arrived. After hearing this, the hotel employee said they had never seen such a strange person at the hotel before. He said the man had been staying there for 3 days, and during those 3 days he had behaved in such odd ways that even the police would be astonished to hear about them. The police first asked the staff what the man's name was. The staff replied that his name was Ronald T. Owen, and that he had given a Los Angeles address. The police took that address and went to Los Angeles to inform his family about what had happened and to get more information about him. When the police reached the address they had been given, they were surprised the address did not exist. As they investigated further, the police discovered that there was no record of anyone by that name anywhere in the United States. according to the way the man had spoken with staff at the hotel, including the conversation recorded on 2 January 1935. He arrived at the hotel carrying no belongings, book a room for a single night, give his name as Ronald T. Owen, and claim to be from Los Angeles. He said he was in town for business. Because many guests at that hotel were indeed there for business or meetings, the staff accepted him and told him, "All right, sir, here is your room. Please go to your room." He said he wanted a hotel room that was secluded, something in the middle, one you reach by passing through other rooms, because he wanted peace. He didn't want a room where anyone could easily walk in or where people passing by would be right outside the door. He wanted a room that required walking down 1 or 2 corridors to reach. The staff agreed and put him on the 10th floor in room 1046. When they showed him the room, he liked it and said, "Yes, I'll stay in this room." In the room staff see, he had almost no belongings, only a small bag and a toothbrush, which he took out and placed on the table. The man looked to be about 25 to 30 years old. He was tall and broad-shouldered, and there was a patch on his head where it looked like hair hadn't grown back properly, as if he'd been injured there before. The day passed without incident. No staff member went near his door, and he didn't call for anyone. On the 3rd, a hotel worker named Mary was on duty. She told the police that she worked that day, and that while doing her rounds, she came near room 1046. Her job was to enter rooms, change bed sheets, and do other cleaning tasks work. She usually began when the hotel was half empty, after guests had left for meetings or gone out, which made it easier for her to do the job. That day she was working her usual shift and doing the same tasks, so Mary, the maid, tried to open the room to clean it. But the inside latch was locked. Back then, if the inside latch was fastened, a master key wouldn't work. So Mary didn't try to use one. Instead, she knocked. From inside, a man's voice asked, "Who is it?" Mary replied that she was from housekeeping and had come to clean the room. The man inside said, "I'm busy right now. Come back later." Mary agreed, left, and went to clean other rooms. An hour later, when she returned to that same room and tried the door again, it opened. Inside, she found the room unusually dark. Only one lamp by the chair was on, and the man was sitting there. The eerie atmosphere frightened her. Why would someone sit in almost complete darkness like that? Mary asked if she could clean the room now. He told her, "Yes, go ahead." So she switched on the lights to work. The man then stood up and said, "I'm stepping out for a bit. After you finish cleaning, leave the door open. My friend is coming and I want him to be able to come inside easily when the door is open." Mary followed his instructions. She cleaned the room, collected the used bed sheets and towels, and left the door unlocked as requested. 4 hours passed. Then, as per hotel policy, Mary came back again with fresh towels because every 4 hours the staff had to replace them. After about 4 or 5 hours, they were also supposed to ask guests whether they needed their bed sheets changed. When Mary went back into the room, she saw that the door was still unlocked, but no one was inside. On the table, she noticed a note. She read it, and it said, "Dawn, I will be back in 15 minutes. She assumed that must be the name of the friend the man had mentioned earlier, so she left the note there and walked out. The next day, when she returned to the same room, she again found the door unlocked. She stepped inside, and this time she was shocked the man was sitting on the bed, completely naked, without a single piece of clothing on. Startled, she quickly composed herself and began her cleaning duties. While she was working, the phone rang. The man answered, and it seemed to be a call from Dawn. Dawn appeared to ask Ronald whether he wanted something to eat. He offered to send food right away. Ronald replied that he had already had breakfast and wasn't hungry at the moment. After that brief exchange, the call ended. Once he hung up, Ronald pulled a bedsheet over himself and then began chatting with Mary. He asked how many years she had been working there and whether she was the only one who cleaned that room. Mary replied, "No, I'm not the only one. There are many of us, but we are each assigned to different floors and rooms." This room happens to fall under my section, which is why I'm the one who always cleans it. So while talking casually with Mary, the man said, "Earlier I stayed at another hotel, but I didn't like it. This one is much better." At that moment, Mary suddenly remembered something. When she had entered the room earlier, she noticed that the door only locked from the outside, not from the inside. That's why she had been able to push it open so easily. This struck her as odd. If the door was locked from the outside, then maybe someone else had shut it on their way out. But the man inside didn't seem concerned or surprised by this. Mary, keeping her thoughts to herself, simply finished her work and left. 4 hours later, when it was time to deliver fresh towels and change the linens, Mary returned. Standing outside the room, she saw that this time the door was locked from the inside. As she stood there, she clearly heard voices, not just the man's, but also another voice, a deep, heavy one. The two seemed to be quarreling, their argument growing louder. Mary knocked on the door. From inside, someone called out, "Who is it?" She replied, "I'm from housekeeping. I need to deliver fresh towels and tidy up." A voice answered back, "The room is already clean. We don't need any towels. Please leave." Mary thought it was a bit strange, but she quietly walked away. The police listened carefully to everything she said. Then they summoned the next person who might have seen or spoken to the man known as Ronald. That person happened to be another guest, staying in the room right next to 1046. She was there with her boyfriend. Her name was Jen. She told the police that she had come to the hotel to meet her boyfriend, but because it had gotten very late, he insisted she stay the night with him in his room rather than going home. She explained that she had stayed in that hotel room overnight. While there, she recalled hearing very strange noises coming from the room next door, room 1046. She heard what sounded like two men fighting. Along with them, there was also a woman's voice, but it didn't sound like a normal woman's voice at all. It was harsh, heavy, and unnatural, almost as if it wasn't really a woman's voice. One of the men's voices was also very deep and heavy. The police noted this statement. Then they spoke with the hotel's telephone operator. The operator reported that they kept receiving signals that the telephone line in room 1046 had been deliberately disconnected. The operator called reception, and reception confirmed that the phone wire in that room had been pulled out and requested it be fixed. A staff member was sent to check. He knocked on the door, no response. He knocked again, and this time a voice from inside said, "Come in." The staff member entered and explained. The telephone wire was disconnected. "I've come to fix it." The man inside told him, "All right, go ahead and reconnect it." The staff member agreed, left quickly, but did not complete the repair. Later, the operator kept calling again and again, reporting that the line in room 1046 was still unhooked. So another request was made. When the staff member returned, he saw the door was unlocked. He went inside and found the man lying quietly on the bed. Without any conversation, he quickly reattached the phone wire and left. But then, at the 4th of January, 10:35 a.m., the telephone operator called reception again. "The wire in room 1046 has been disconnected once more. Someone needs to check again." This same staff member went back. When he opened the door, he was shocked the room was covered in blood. The man inside had been attacked brutally, with multiple stab wounds, leaving his body in a horrific state. After that, the police also questioned a hotel lift operator. He told them that he never had any serious interaction with Ronald, but he did notice something unusual involving a young woman. He said that on January 3rd, a girl approached him and asked to be taken to the 10th floor. While in the elevator, she started chatting with him. She told him she was a sex worker and that someone had called her there. She said she was going to meet her client. Since many wealthy businessmen and rich guests stayed at the hotel, nothing about her words seemed out of place. The lift operator dropped her on the 10th floor and left, but soon after she called for the lift again. When he went back up, she was still there, standing in the hallway, saying, "My friend isn't here after all. Please take me back down." He brought her down. Just 4 or 5 minutes later, someone rang for the lift again. When he went up, the same girl was waiting. The operator was shocked. How could she have gotten back up to the 9th floor in such a short time? The odd situation unsettled him, and after finally dropping her off downstairs, he sat aside, uneasy, wondering if something suspicious was going on. The police continued listening. Later, a taxi driver also came forward. He told them that he had picked up a man from the hotel who was wearing nothing but a singlet and underwear, no pants, no coat, nothing else. The driver emphasized how strange that was, because in America, January 3rd is freezing cold and everyone wears heavy coats. But this man had nothing on except his undershirt and underwear. The driver added that the man asked to be dropped off at a certain spot, a short distance away from the hotel, and he stopped there as instructed. He said that the man was extremely angry and kept repeating the same thing. They will remember this. The police thought maybe this man was involved, so they listened carefully to everyone's statements and carried on with their investigation. But nothing concrete came into their hands. Time passed. 2.5 months went by and the body remained unclaimed because the police had kept it, waiting for a family member or relative to come forward and take it for the last rites. But no one came. The case spread everywhere. The news became widely known, yet not a single person stepped forward to identify the man or claim him as family. Eventually, the police instructed the cemetery authorities to go ahead with the burial. But then, something strange happened. On March 23, 1935, the cemetery office received a letter. In that letter, the sender wrote that they would be sending an envelope with money, and that the man named Ronald, who had been lying in the morgue, should be given a proper funeral. At first, the cemetery staff thought it was some kind of prank, but when they opened it, they found actual money, $25, which at that time was a substantial sum, worth around $700 today. Extra money was also included for flowers. The letter also contained a message. "You have received the punishment for your deeds. May God grant peace to your soul." This meant someone out there knew Ronald, perhaps even the person responsible for his death. There was another strange detail. When the cemetery received that letter, they also had a brief phone conversation with someone connected to it. A strange call came, and the cemetery staff asked, "Did you ever kill this man?" The caller replied, "No, I didn't kill him, but whoever did a good job." The man was given a proper burial, and for a while the case cooled down. Then it became sensational again when a woman named Ruby came forward claiming the dead man was her son, Artemis Ogletree. The police asked her why she was only remembering her son after so long. She said she had been reading a magazine that showed his photo and described what had happened at the hotel. In the reports, everyone guessed his age as 25, 35, but she insisted her son was only 18. She explained that her son had left home in 1934 to look for work, but he used to send her letters. She said she continued to receive letters even after 1935. When she read about him in the magazine, she realized a letter had arrived 3 days earlier. She also said there was a difference. Earlier, the letters had been handwritten, but lately they had been typewritten. Ruby said her son would never have typed letters, so someone else must have been sending them. The police, who had already investigated the room, had taken DNA samples because there were fingerprints on the telephone belonging to 4 different people. But when the DNA tests were run, the prints matched the woman's and the investigators still couldn't solve the case. To this day, the police never figured out how he was murdered or who killed him. The police could not solve this case, but let us consider what might have happened and how he may have been killed. First, it's possible the man himself suffered from multiple personality disorder. Second, regarding the many fingerprints the police found on the telephone, that could be explained because it was a hotel. Staff members came in to clean and anyone might have touched it. Also, some staff had gone there earlier to attach wire, so those fingerprints might belong to hotel employees. There had also been many visits from Mary, the maid, who repeatedly went into that room. We cannot rule out the possibility that, while cleaning, she touched the telephone every time. It would be natural for her to handle it while doing her work. If we don't accept that theory, another possibility is the young woman who was seen using the lift that night. As the operator said, she behaved very strangely. Perhaps she had gone there to kill him and then left quickly afterward. Her behavior could have come from fear. Maybe she was worried about being caught, which is why she acted so suspiciously. A third suspect could be Dawn. We don't know whether Dawn truly existed or not, but one thing is certain: the man was receiving calls. Police checked and confirmed that the calls were indeed real, but to this day nobody knows from where exactly those calls were being made.
So this was today's story. I hope like this. So don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Bye bye.